Picture this, it's 1997. You're driving along the highway in the same sporty American car owned by every other Target shopping baby boomer soccer mom. It's the start of the SUV craze, and the Ford Explorer you're casually steering is the talk of the town. In fact, it's trusted so much that even the police use them. Suddenly, you travel past a crushed up wreck. A tire is in pieces on the shoulder with an emergency vehicle protecting the other drivers from the hazard. The driver clearly lost control and rode a long way off the road and into the embankment. You wonder if the poor souls inside survived. And then you realize that the car in question is the same as yours, a Ford Explorer. What does that make you think in that eerily quiet moment? What does it make you feel? Can this car be trusted, or might it be hiding a serious and potentially deadly defect? Welcome to M3R GTS 7. This week we're diving headlong into the automotive scandal that rocked the world in the late 90s and early 2000s. Firestone is one of the most popular tire brands in North America. It's a mid-range alternative to Bridgestone, its parent company, which offers a premium quality product. Firestone has been around in one form or another since 1900, when it was founded by Harvey S. Firestone in Akron, Ohio. Ironically, competitors Goodyear and Goodrich have their roots in the same town. Thanks to a friendship between Harvey Firestone and Henry Ford, the Firestone Company partnered with the future automotive giant and began specializing in automotive rubber tires. This business relationship blossomed even after the founders' deaths and the purchase of Firestone by Japanese brand Bridgestone in 1988. For decades, Firestone was the OEM tire supplier for Ford vehicles, even surviving the Firestone 500 radio scandal of the 1970s, where a congressional hearing found that a Firestone radio tire had directly caused 250 deaths thanks to poor design. Nevertheless, Ford and Firestone held each other tight. That is, until the early 2000s, when all love would be lost in this 95-year relationship. If you live in the US, Canada, Mexico, or any other country in South America, Europe, Africa, or the Middle East, you've most likely heard of the Ford Explorer. With over 8 million model sales in the US and spanning 6 generations at the time of this video, the Ford Explorer is on the edge of becoming an American staple. Over the last few years, national sales figures have hovered at around 220,000 per year, with an additional 20 or 30,000 sold as dedicated police cruisers annually. These sales figures are pretty good to say the least, but they're nothing compared to times gone by. The Ford Explorer sold over 380,000 units each year from 1995 to 2003, reaching a peak of 445,000 sales in 2000, and that's just in the States. The first generation Explorer was released in March 1990 for the 1991 model year. It was conceived as a replacement for the not so interesting Bronco 2. The design process was relatively simple in automotive terms. Engineers took a Ford Ranger truck, reworked the body slightly, stood back, and decided that'll do. It might sound like cheating, but in general, the American public and police gradually took to it. As a 1991 Car and Driver article puts it, a kind of love-hate relationship with Explorer emerged with testers. Ominously, the following sentence can be found in the same Car and Driver article. "This thing needs a few more pounds of air in the tires," one driver complained, "because otherwise it squeals like a pig." Which leads us nicely into the Ford Firestone controversy. From 1900 to 2000, NHTSA received a number of complaints and reports regarding tread separation on Firestone ATX, ATX2, and Wilderness AT tires on Ford Explorers. Tread separation is when the tread detaches from the tire wall. It usually happens at high speed or under heavy loads. Assumingly, the government didn't have enough to identify a pattern or open a formal investigation. Things began to pick up speed in 1996. Ford Explorers with potentially defective Firestone tires had been issued to state departments in Arizona. Now, the Arizona government complained to Firestone that the treads were separating from the rest of the tire at high temps. Firestone opened an investigation and concluded that the passenger tires were being used for heavy-duty applications that they weren't designed for. They upgraded the tires on the affected cars. The following year, 1997, complaints issued to Firestone began rising concerning tread separation on the ATX, ATX2, and Wilderness AT tires. These blowouts sometimes led to vehicle rollover and occasionally fatalities. Thanks to warranty claims, most information went directly to Firestone, but Ford was also aware of the problems. So what did Firestone do? Their investigations led them to believe that the tires were either being misused or the customers weren't keeping them inflated to the recommended 26 psi. As a result, they by and large did nothing. Ford and Firestone did quietly issue tire recalls in overseas territories such as Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, the Middle East, Thailand, and Malaysia, but did nothing in the US and never told NHTSA. According to the New York Times, Sean Kane, a leading traffic safety consultant, had worked with a group of personal injury lawyers. He'd noticed a pattern. Ford Explorers were crashing and rolling over due to tire failure, and the Firestone ATX tires were proportionately involved much more than they should have been. As early as 1996, they'd identified 30 incidents fitting the pattern, and a few of these had involved fatalities. Over the following years, they would uncover many more, including 46 related deaths in Venezuela. Kane and the rest of the team elected not to tell NHTSA or disclose the information to any government body before 2000 for fear of inhibiting the ongoing private lawsuits. They also lacked, quote, confidence in federal regulators to not, quote, burn the plaintiff lawyers if they were mistaken. Whether Kane and his team should have informed the public of their discoveries back in '96 is a topic for another time. In February 2000, KHUTV in Texas ran a segment about Firestone tires failing on Ford Explorers at high speeds, leading to crashes and rollovers. They'd already linked this problem to 30 deaths, and following the program's broadcast, people from all over began calling in to report more incidents. Eventually, the shocking truth was revealed. Incidents of the tread separating from a Firestone tire on the Ford Explorer led to over 200 deaths in total. Join us in part 2 when we'll discuss what made Ford Explorers of this time so deadly, who was to blame, and the fallout of the scandal. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.